I'm just interested if to know if you're familiar with any situations where they have Jewish children teaching in Arab villages in Israel, and what that experience has been. Uh, this has been a remarkable film. This is a remarkable film, but I was wondering if you can talk about the reverse.
Let's take one more question. Maybe we can answer a couple at a time because I know our time's short.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you in particular. It's been a wonderful evening. My question to the Abraham Fund is, how do you find out more about it? Are you looking for support in some fashion from us New Yorkers?
Can we take that one after? Can we take this one after the panel?
Yeah, I'll meet you in the back. So let me just, if I can comment briefly, the experience of Jewish teachers teaching in Arab schools exists. It is somewhat limited. It changed fairly dramatically, actually, about 12 years ago after the Second Intifada, and many of the Jewish teachers who were teaching in the Wadi Ara schools, for example, where the film was shot, started feeling less comfortable. One of the things that our organization is doing is running a not exactly parallel program, because remember that the Arab kids who are studying in Arab schools grow up learning Hebrew as a second language mandatory, okay? But what they're missing is the nuance of Israeli Jewish culture. What they're missing is Hebrew being taught by native Hebrew speakers. So we actually have a companion program operating in about 65 schools this year, Arab schools, where we're sending in Jewish language enrichment and Israeli Jewish cultural experiences for Arab kids. And then we have an envelope program that brings together Jewish schools and Arab schools for shared cultural and linguistic experiences. So I think your question is a very appropriate one. I think the reality of the film, one of the things that was very clear, and we heard it again from the question here, is that these kinds of questions that embarrass us as adults, right, are natural, normal questions that children ask. And the sad thing is, most Israeli children don't have any place to ask those questions. And so if nothing else happens, if the kids don't learn language and they don't learn how to build a mosque and they don't learn anything else, they have a place where it's safe to ask obvious questions that they will then carry with them for the rest of their lives. And I think that's at least as important as any of the curriculum and any of the pedagogic goals that those programs have.
I want to answer that note. I disagree with you that it is normal that kids grow without knowing their environment. And maybe I'm allowing myself to say that Israel is in a different situation than New York. According to the researchers that we made, between 70 and 80% of the youngs in Israel from different backgrounds answered that they're not familiar with other communities. It can be Russian immigrants with veterans, and Arab with Jews, and even between Jews, different groups, and also between Arabs, Muslims, youngs that say that they're not familiar enough with Christian Arabs. And the problem is that for Israel, according once again to the research, around 60 and plus% of young Jews for the first time meet Arabs when they're soldiers. Or when they go pump their cars, or to eat hummus, and we don't want this to be the first interaction between Jews and Arabs. And the situation in Israel is so urgent than it is in New York. It's not only about diversity; it's about accepting each other.
Can I add something also? Just one short thing. I just like to add that if there's going to be any change in Israel, it's going to be only through education and through kids, I believe. And you can see in the film that they accept her more willingly than the adults, the kids, and they take it back to their parents. Like if my kid would come home and say, I would like to eat whole food, then I'll start buying the whole wheat and change my life. And that kid is saying, my father didn't understand why I should build mosques, so I explained to him. So I'll learn about the other culture.
I just have to share something that a colleague of mine told me 10 years ago when we were talking about creating this program of teaching language. He said, yeah, that's very nice, but let's be careful that we don't put all the responsibility on war and peace and tolerance and racism on our children, because that's really grown-ups have to do that work. And I absolutely agree with
Agree
you,
with you too.
but it's not the whole answer, and far from it.
We're going to take two last comments over here, one here and one there.
Hi. First of all, Kol Hakavod. It was a magnificent film, and I have to
Thank
say
you.
that I cried several times because it really hit home, especially with the teacher being a Holocaust
The principal.
child of a Holocaust survivor. I'd like to know what is the actual real time frame for teachers to be in all the schools in the entire country.
Well, can I answer?
Do we want to take one more, or is this the last one?
Yeah, we'll take the answer and then we'll.
Well, we are going through a 5 years plan that started actually in last September in the running school year, and according to this plan, 500 Arab teachers should be recruited in different school all along Israel, and we hope that this 5 years plans will be enlarged and reach other schools. Unfortunately, the attitude towards teaching and teachers in Israel as an official policy need to be improved. Good young and talented young don't go to teach. So we need this first step to bring Arab teachers in more Jewish school. We need to bring Jewish teachers, but there are not enough Jewish teachers to Arab schools, and we need to change the whole attitude. As Ami said at the very beginning, these parallel tracks of studying and of educational system in Israel make the possibility of young to meet at very early ages almost impossible, and there is a need for this kind of programs that Ami described, and that we and other NGOs are doing in order to bring young to meet and to work their stereotypes at a very early age.
The good news is that in the entire northern district of the Ministry of Education and the Haifa district, two of the most integrated parts of Israel, studying conversational Arabic language and culture is now mandatory in 100% of the schools in those districts, with the Ministry of Education paying 100% of the instructional costs of that program. The next jump of making it nationally mandated is going to be challenging, especially when you get into the areas where there's not much interface between Jews and Arabs. But it's our goal over the next 2 to 3 years to do everything we can to use the existing Ministry of Education, the new Minister of Education, who's very good on these issues, to really make a full court press, as they say in basketball, and try to get this thing over the finish line. But I appreciate your question.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that what I said meant by normal, I didn't mean that the segregation, the different, the separateness is normal. I meant what I saw in this film, the reactions of children to the teacher, that's completely normal, absolutely open. And I think it's really great that there's this, that they're doing this. But I also want to say that when I worked in that Muslim school in Queens, on Queens Boulevard, not only did I feel so uncomfortable that I felt I had to cover my hair, but I never told anyone there, even though I wanted to, but I never told the children that I'm Jewish, because I was actually afraid to say that. And actually, I planned to do this. Okay, it's kind of an interesting topic, actually. I planned to do this, but I wanted to do this at the very end of the year. So, but I couldn't. I just couldn't make myself say that, because I heard, some of the children say things like, "Oh, Jews kill our people" and stuff like that. So I was just too afraid to say that. So I think it's really great that Jews are learning Arabic, but it should be the other way too.